Hey everybody, it's Shelly Hoffman, and I'm here with our Mayor Dick Clarke. I really look forward to the Wednesdays because this is when we get the updates of what's been happening in the village, especially with places like Canton Wood and stuff. So, how you doing this afternoon or this morning, I guess?
I'm doing very well. I wore my state fair shirt because if things were normal, that might be there today working. And it's kind of sad. I mean, it's not the biggest thing in the world, but for me necessarily, but there's people who live for the state fair. People who
Yeah,
work there who make a lot of money. This is huge for them, and it's kind of sad. But maybe next year I can wear this shirt again and for real. Um,
I'm gonna be there.
Things are going pretty good. I mean, the village is buzzing along, getting things done. The senior center continues to lead the pace as far as activity for me to report. And I think part of that's because when they shut down, they shut down. I mean, there was,
Yeah,
other than Ruth telling me, have people call, we can get them help for this or that. There really was nothing as far as activity. And now that they're using the outside, things have really picked up. One of the big things is they have a walk for the woods every year. It's their big fundraiser. I think it's $10 to register, and then you try to get sponsors. And it's on a Saturday morning, usually at 9 o'clock, and they walk from the senior center up to the entrance to McCary Town, through McCary Town, and up to Syracuse home. And they go up to the main entrance, and there's usually 7 or 8 of the residents out in wheelchairs, and they'll have nature bars, granola bars and that kind of bottles of water for people. And then you turn around, walk back, and turn in your money. And they have a special thing if you have dogs. It starts 15 minutes later, so the dogs are separate from the regular people. So then, because some people aren't as comfortable around dogs, and they
yeah,
usually have apples and stuff when you get back so you can recharge your battery. And they make pretty good chunk of money. Now they've missed out on the car show this year, which is another big fundraiser. So they're going to do it a month-long walk, and everybody will do it individually.
okay,
So what I will do is I'll sign up, and then I'll pick a place to walk, and I'll put it out there if anybody wants to support. I try not to do too much because I don't want people to feel like I'm strong arming them as the mayor. But um, you know,
I can see why, but I just don't see you doing that. But I can see why you would feel that
yeah, you just
way.
want to make sure you don't ever have people go, oh, I didn't want to say no to the mayor. Um, and then I'll take a walk. And what they're kind of hoping people will take a picture of, maybe a selfie, or if there's 2 or 3 people walking together, somebody will take a picture of them. We're on the trail because we have trails all over the village. They can walk the trails, they can walk around the school, and then turn their money in. Ruth will set up how to turn the money in, whether you're going to drop it off, and they'll be outside to pick it up for you in front of the senior center, whether you send a check, however you want to do it. And they're hoping that people will get out and walk, which is huge. I mean, that's a huge part of this whole fundraising thing, is to get people to walk and make a few bucks to help pay a few of the bills over there. Um, Trying to see if there's
Is that
any.
going to be the mayor? Is that the month of September? You said they're going to do a
Whole month of
month long.
September. September is
Okay.
National Senior Center month, and so they're going to go the whole month with it. And there'll be more information. There's another newsletter coming out, just a 2-page newsletter. We'll have information on that and a registration form and that type of stuff. So for those of you who are walkers and like to help the senior center, you walk wherever you want.
Okay.
So it'll be a nice thing. And for some of you who know me, you may hear from me that I'm looking for support. Good news for people who are subscribers to Food Sense. It's coming back at September 14th is the order deadline. I'm pretty sure, but you should check with Canton Woods for all the information. This is a deal where you pay like $20.50, and you get a box that's got, I saw the list that had a pound of veal, I think maybe turkey, ground turkey, a bag of apples, a bag of carrots. There's about 9 or 10 items, the kind of thing that would just kind of stock you up a little bit so that, make it a little easier for people that are on a tight budget. And it
Got
seems like, I think maybe it was spaghetti sauce was included and that type of stuff. again, call the center for information. They also have an additional thing you can buy. One that I thought was pretty interesting is stuffed chicken, with stuffed with apples and cranberries. So it's obviously it's prepackaged. People get pretty excited about this. They had a pretty good group of people that used to sign up for this, and you want to get a hold of the list and get signed up. Get a hold of Ruth or Joni or whoever over at the senior center. I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the drive-by pickup again. Come by the front of the senior center, and it's open. This one is interesting because this is open to people of all ages. It's not just for seniors. So if there's people out there struggling a little bit, $20 with a box of food will get you through 3 or 4 days, and probably a little cheaper than what you would pay at the grocery store. So that's a good one. The art group.
And
go ahead.
They call the senior center for that, you said?
Call the senior center, 638-4536. Okay. And somebody will answer the phone and get you going. The art group is going to meet in September, the 1st and the 15th at 11 in the morning. That'll be in the pavilion, weather permitting. And make sure you bring masks and be prepared to not be on top of each other as far as distancing. The book club will meet September 15th, same day as the second art group thing, but it'll be at 2:00 in the afternoon in the gazebo. The Keeper of Lost Things is the book. If you haven't got it and you want to start reading it, you can get it maybe from the library or bookstore. Again, masks will be required. And they usually have, a handful of people, but they love their books and they love to talk about them. And they read some different kind of books, which is interesting. They don't read the #1 bestseller every week. It's a off the beaten path kind of book sometimes. And sometimes they work out to be great. And I read the reviews that they have in the newsletter. Sometimes they're not so good, but
it's all preference. It's preference, Mayor. It's good for one person, maybe not another.
Yeah, right. Last week they had the concert, George Leah. Linda and I went over. It was really nice. A little warm, but they had a nice crowd. People had masks on, the whole group. And George does everything. Paul Simon, Garth Brooks, and everybody in between. Rock, it's kind of country rock and country. There's a lot of George Strait. He was doing requests. He went for an hour straight, and he barely took a breath between songs. He just went and he doesn't do the 6-minute version. He does like the 3-minute version of a song, where he does the first 2 verses that people recognize, and then he goes into another. So if you don't care for that particular artist, you're going right to another one. And it was very relaxing. Linda and I were there, and my sister Cindy came. We got to see a lot of the people from the center that haven't seen in a long time, and I think they were thrilled to be out. And everybody had their own chairs, and it was very nice. So this time it's going to be September 17th at 3:00. It's a group called Rock Shadow, who has played at the senior center before, according to Ruth. And again, bring your own chair, mask, try to keep the distance. It was a little tough last time because it was quite sunny and warm, and people were trying to get into the shade areas, and but they all had masks on and relatively safe distance, I thought. So it was nice. I think Ruth and Joan felt very good about the whole day. That people were just, you couldn't tell if they were smiling because they had masks on, but people, when they were leaving, people were waving, "Hey, good to see you," to everybody else, so it was kind of nice. Brush pickup will be probably a week later than what people would expect. Next week, August ends on Monday. So it's not really September yet on Monday. So they're going to go the following week, the day after Labor Day. Normally we don't start on a holiday week, but because it will now be like 3 or 4 weeks, it will be September 8th will be the start of brush pickup in the next round. The chalk drawing deadline is tomorrow. I don't know if you've gone on the site, but there were some very nice drawings. Buckets of candy for some of the winners, and then there's a $200 donation to the charity of your choice for the Community Choice Award. I got to go back and look. I'm hoping some more people took advantage of a chance to do something different. Hats off to the Rotary. I would throw out a plug for all of our civic organizations. Yeah, the Rotary missed their big fundraiser this year. I don't know what's going to happen Thanksgiving morning as far as turkey trot. That may be a scratch. So all of our organizations are going to be hurting as far as money. When I say hurting, they're going to be all right. The trouble is they donate to causes around the village and the area, and people will be disappointed when they, find out that the Rotary doesn't have enough to make, and maybe they do. I mean, maybe I'm speaking.
Well, I was going to say, I can speak for the Rotary. I can't speak for some of the other clubs, but I'm sure it's all the same, is they have gotten really creative with other ways of fun ways within the community. I know Rotary threw out a group of 10 to 12 ideas that they had brainstormed together to the club to say, hey, what do you think of these? Does anybody want to lead it? And I don't want to speak for which ones were going to be chosen or not, but look for things from the Rotary, but also I'm sure the Kiwanis Club, the Lions Club, it's just, you have to, with the schools, everything, the village, you got to start thinking, okay, what can we do? We can't do what we've always done. So what can we do instead? So
I saw the Methodist Church, I think, did well with their fried dough Saturday.
They see that, yeah.
And all the churches have got to be hurting as far as the people's tithing has got to be down. Some people don't, are not working and don't have the extra money to, support the church. And so what better way than to bring in the community for something fun? I didn't go down because Linda can't eat, she's gluten-free. So the dough thing doesn't work for us as much. But I know my sister Cindy was in line before noon. Eager Beaver Cindy. She said very good, and they sold out. That's the word she got. So great. I hope other organizations can continue to find ways to involve the community. And I think people are just happy to, fried dough is not like nirvana. But it's something different. And, and again, going along with missing the state fair, a lot of people went to the fair to go to the villa to get their pizza free and that kind of stuff. So this is a little substitute, and it.
What I just thought of? Somebody needs to do the potatoes. Isn't that a huge line at this fair? Is the potatoes?
I think that would go for huge. Potato thing where you get 2 or 3 potatoes, and they put them in those little cardboard boats and with a little thing of butter.
Yep.
Hey folks, somebody can make some money that way. And you heard it here first. So if you're thinking about the chalk thing, anybody is, a kid who's pretty talented or just is looking for something to do, get them out and draw something in the driveway and then take a picture and submit it to the Rotary website. And never know, you might win a bucket of candy. You might win a $200 donation for your favorite charity.
Nice.
Court.
Hey,
go ahead.
I just want to go back to Canton Woods really quick because I know we went to the Rotary, but I did have a question in the community. There's a senior who would like to participate in stuff, and I had shared the calendar of what was happening at Canton Woods, and everything obviously was during the hours the center is open. And this person was just wondering if there was ever anything they could do after work, because she is still working. She plans on working for quite a few more years, and I'm sure there's other senior citizens in our community as well. Does the center do things after hours, like in evening hours, or have you guys ever talked about that?
They don't generally. One of the problems is, and this is not a knock on seniors, but they don't like to drive at night, and because quite often vision is not as good as you get older, and driving at night can be a little scary. Plus, getting in and out of your car in the at night when you can't see what's around you and that type of stuff. Kind of plays into it. Maybe with the virtual stuff going on, that some of the groups, if they're going to do, if somebody's going to do a talk on income tax or insurance or things like that, they could do them in daytime and maybe do an evening session too for people that do work. Most of the other activities, I suppose that would be on an individual basis, like the Tai Chi people, so on. They could have a session at 6 o'clock I don't think it would be an issue because the center, you can't go in the center anyways. So
Yeah.
I suppose if they wanted to do Zumba over there, like they do over in Geddes, they could do it in the evening at the gazebo and spread out in the parking lot and that type of thing. I don't think there's a lot of people asking for that, but I think this would, whoever that is, if you could just have them call Ruth and
Okay.
explain, maybe the book club would go virtual and say, we'll do something in the evening, once a month, or every other month we'll go in the evening and we'll make it, because what's going to happen is everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. We're scheduling all these events, and all of a sudden we're going to get the report that tonight's going to be a frost, and tomorrow it's only going up to 48, and the art club isn't going to look so good out in the pavilion. So they may have to find some. And knowing Mike Conway, for instance, with the art group, he's liable to go virtual, where people are in their homes, like we are here, and have their phone showing their canvas as they're painting, and he said, geez, you might want to try a little deeper blue over on this side. It would bring that out a little bit, and people could watch as it's going on, so people could, even if they aren't artists, they could be included. So I'll mention something to Ruth, but if you would have that person give Ruth a call at the senior center, it's certainly something worth thinking about.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for update on the court. They've had 2 sessions. I have a third one tonight. Reminder this week is no traffic court at the moment. So if you have a traffic ticket, it's not being dealt with in the court. You can, if you're going to just pay it, if you've got a speeding ticket and you just want to pay it and get it done with, there's a drop box at Village Hall. If you're going to contest it, go on the village website, on the court site, and there's a explanation on the procedure to go to challenge a ticket, whether you have to see the DA representative or whatever. It's all spelled out on how to go about it. So no speeding tickets, no going through a stop sign stuff at court, at least not at the moment. They had, I think, 13 the first week, 10 people last week. So far, the procedures they have set up are working.
Good.
I don't know if the numbers increase dramatically, if that will change, but our new screener is apparently working out quite well, and no major concerns. So it's good. Some of the old stuff is getting taken care of, and I'm thinking that they're hoping the pace will pick up, but not go crazy. And so, and if you have questions, call the court. 635-6355 is the number. Cheryl or Debbie will handle any questions you got. Okay. Codes had a Zoom meeting last night for the planning board, which is the first planning board meeting we've had in quite a while. And apparently it went well. I tuned in, caught the last 15-20 minutes of it on Facebook. So people know that when we do these meetings, we've had 2 zoning board of appeals meetings, 1 planning board, and then our regular village board meetings. You could go on the Facebook site of either the codes office or the village hall, or the village Facebook site, and you can watch them live. So we actually have better attendance on Zoom than we do when we're in person. Because people don't have to get out of their house and go to a meeting at 7:30 at night. They can watch it on Facebook. And we've gotten a few questions, people asking questions. Usually somebody in the meeting is monitoring the Facebook site, so that if you type, like, I think the question last night is, there had been a house fire down by O'Reilly's across the street, and is anything being done with the building? So Greg was able to answer, what he knew as far as the latest on the building, that the owner was trying to sell it. They're investigating whether they can tear it down, and what could they build there if they tore it down. So it's the best thing we have right now. And actually, I don't think somebody would have gone to the planning board meeting to ask that question. But the fact that it was live on Facebook, they asked it. So there's some things about it that are even better. So we hope that we're not losing people, and that we're gaining people. We aren't sure when we're going to go back to a live meeting. not everybody's excited about the prospect of being in the building together. And I know I've watched the Van Buren meetings, and one of their board members is at home for all their meetings, and they have her set up on a Zoom or a FaceTime or something so that she can be part of the meeting. Had something come up, and I thought of you when Greg sent me the message, because it's about real estate and house sales and stuff. Greg Humphrey, our code officer, said he was on listening to NPR this morning, and they were having a discussion about Zillow, which for a lot of you know is a good place to go see houses for sale type stuff. But
she's gonna be shaking her head.
We prefer to go to our local people. But it's interesting just to go through and see what prices are and stuff. You know,
Absolutely.
We're not looking to buy a house, but it's interesting to see what's available around the village and that type of stuff. And the question came up about, should Zillow list restrictions on the property? For instance, a few years ago, we had a house that had a drainage swale in the backyard. And for people who aren't familiar with what they are, they're a depression where runoff goes in and fills up during a storm. Typically, cattails are growing there because they help soak up the water, and it keeps it from looking like a mud puddle also. And people wanted to build a fence. They wanted to cut down about half of the cattails and build a fence on their property line. And we told them they couldn't because that property line was in a drainage swale. Well, how come we didn't know that? So that's a good question, because your attorney should have gone to the code officer and said, I got clients that want to buy this property. Any restrictions that you know of? Because some of the properties in the village, the older properties, are pre-existing non-conforming properties where they're too close to the property line, so that you can't add like a little porch, entranceway, because now you're really too close to the property line. But you ought to know that before you buy the house, that no, you can't put it on that side of the house because you're too close to the neighbor's property line. The other side you got more room. If you're buying property, go to your code office. Your real estate, I know Shelley would be right on top of it. She would point out that stuff. And in some cases, people just don't know. They're not aware of it. And in particular,
I want to just say, typically it's on the survey, and there are times that when the attorney goes over the survey, it's at the closing table. But there are a lot of attorneys out there that they get that survey and they call the client and they will say that that's in the back. So typically a buyer should be aware of that. But absolutely, if you're buying a property, New York is a buyer's beware state, meaning once you close, it was for you to find out, right? Which is why you have a real estate agent, you have your attorney, you have your lender to help you. But things get missed, and if Greg's saying to call the code, and they're and that they give that information to head up any issues, that's who I would call if I had a question. That's, as real estate agents, we call the zoning and say, hey, what's going on with this property? What can and can't be done? Right. So it's nice to hear him say, hey, I want you to call me so I can tell you what's going on with this property. That's actually nice. The one thing I want to add, since I kind of have some people's attention with Zillow, is Zillow pulls from the county records. They're actually a company out in California. So they have no idea about anything going on in New York, Connecticut, Delaware, any of these states. But they have, like with everything computerized, they have what pulls. So that's why taxes are not always right on Zillow, because they can only pull all the same information from everywhere to be consistent with their company. So Zillow is 100% great for what you just said, looking to see what's on the market to get a general idea. But even if Zillow had the zoning stuff on there, you can't guarantee that it would be accurate, just because of the way it's a corporation and they pull information into their databases and filter it out. It's countrywide, not New York wide or Baldwinsville wide, and that's what makes it tough. So for my industry, which, as you know, we've mentioned, that's what I do, but we answer those questions all the time. What can go on with this property? And if we don't know, we call Greg, or we call whoever's in charge of zoning in that area. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to hear Greg didn't think I was bothering him, or other real estate professionals were bothering him when we call and ask those questions.
And his point is he would rather have you call him before you sell property, get somebody to buy a piece of property, than have them call afterwards and say, why didn't my real estate agent tell me that I'm in a floodplain?
Yeah.
We had somebody buy property in the village one time that had outstanding water bill of like $600 or something. Well, they wanted the water turned on, so not till you pay the water bill. Well, why would we pay it? Because it's on that property and you own it. Well, the other people should have paid it. That's right. And your attorney should have said, I just checked with the village. I checked with, National Grid. That bill's fine. I checked with the water and it's not. There's a past bill. You may want to have that deducted from the sale price so then you can pay it and it won't cost you out of your pocket. They had a hard time understanding that. Had they checked with Greg or even Mo in that case, the attorney should have checked. I don't know, I'm assuming it went through a real estate agent, but
yeah, the real estate agent wouldn't know, but typically the numbers, especially in cash transactions, sometimes things get left out if something like that's going to happen. But a bank usually, you have a bank attorney, a buyer's attorney, a seller's attorney. Usually someone's going to catch something like that. Like I said, things fall through the cracks, but yeah, the water bill has to be paid, and it's whoever owns the house. And if you've been at the closing table, it is now your house. So,
like you said, it's buyer beware. I mean, in that sense, you're buying all the liens on that property when it gets at that point.
Yeah, you're supposed to get a clear title at closing, and that's one of the things you pay your attorney for. Is for that.
A $600 thing might not be enough to stop the sale. People might say, well, if I got to pay $600 to get it, extra to get it, but at least they know it.
Yes.
And we have other things that pop up that, taxes weren't paid on a property and people buy it and then they get a bill and they don't understand why they're getting the bill. It's like, because you own the property. Had you cleared it ahead of time, you would have somebody would have said, make sure whoever you're buying it from pays the taxes before you buy it. Or don't buy it. I mean, it could have been that simple. So I figure you're the right one to bring it up with. I mean, this is your bailiwick, and I hope we can, maybe one or two people see this and will save themselves some aggravation by doing the things ahead of time. And I did see a thing, I think it was from the chamber maybe today, and note that the looked like the Female Charitable Society building is about done being repaired. For those who don't know, Female Charitable is I think it's a 200-year-old operation that provides medical supplies in the physical supplies like wheelchairs, walkers, beds, hospital beds, and so on, and for nothing. I mean, you usually make a donation, but they just celebrated their 200th birthday here a couple years ago. I got to play Jonas Baldwin in a play they put on. Not a non-speaking part. None of us spoke in that group, but I got to wear some old clothes, old time clothes and a hat, and so it was kind of cool. And Joe Saraceni played a local Native American, and we traded vegetables and stuff as we sat on the stage, and
nice.
Might have happened back when Baldwinsville first was formed. But it's a wonderful, wonderful outfit. It's for people basically in the Baldwinsville School District. But they had a fire. Yeah. I can't remember when the fire was, but 6-8 months ago, that type of thing. And so they've been getting work done. There's been a big dumpster out front for quite a while, but that's gone. I don't know what their situation is now with the virus, if they're taking people in off the street, or if they will somehow find a way to get something to you. I will try to find that out and put something on the village's Facebook site. But you can call them. I don't have their number right in front of me. It was the last second thing I threw down. But they're very helpful. If somebody's had surgery, fallen, needs equipment, they have everything. And it's amazing.
They were great. They were great with my dad. My dad needed a walker. He needed a raised toilet seat, quite a few things that they had that, and no questions asked. You do just have to live in the Baldwinsville School District.
Yep.
Is the one requirement. So
it's another one of those things that it's people just accept that it's here, and then you find out other communities don't have it.
No.
Makes Baldwinsville special. We are talking what to do with Christmas tree lighting, the fire department parade. It appears that will be, unless something changes drastically, that the parade, at least as we know it, is a no-go. I mean, we can't. We've had one year where we thought between 5,000 and 10,000 people at the Four Corners. So we certainly couldn't do that. And we would put. I'm assuming we will put a tree up and then just light it when flip a switch and it's lit, and there won't be a ceremony. We maybe will ask Pac B to come and do a 10-minute taping of getting ready and then flipping the switch, and so that people can see on Facebook that the tree is lit, and be a part of it by watching.
They could do a cool segment, parade of lights from the past, maybe, or something leading up to the tree lighting. Some of the decorations. I know there was a was it Dominion? One of those little Dominions on top of a fire truck one time, and they had to go off to like little things like that over the years that have happened. That would be kind of neat, since we can't have the actual parade.
Maybe they'll take some highlights from last couple years, put 10-15 minutes of parade stuff, and then flip to the tree, and I'll flip the switch and the tree will be lit, and people can feel like they were there. It isn't perfect. We understand that. It's going to be maybe the best we can do, and we'll try to do as much as we can. That's all kind of on hold. I was reminded when I was looking through our updated budget figures and where we stand, and one of the lines was brick pavers, how much we've taken in from brick pavers. And I thought, for people who...
I think the mayor got a phone call. Let's see if he comes back on. In the meantime, tomorrow... Oh, are you there?
All right.
Okay.
Yep, I'm back now. But you can buy a brick honoring a loved one, living, dead, whatever you want to, if it's a relative that you want to honor, it's over by where the boats dock. There's a brick area and where the flagpole is, and if you walk over that way, you'll see a lot of old-time Beeville people listed, some new people who just want to recognize their family, grandkids, all that kind of stuff. So it's not very expensive. I think, and it's $50 for the first brick, and then $35 for each one. Like if you wanted to have, if you were a grandparent and you wanted to have your 3 kids and their families listed, so it's $50, and then $35. So in that case, it'd be $120 for 3 bricks, and it's there, theoretically.
Yep. Oh, we keep losing him. I'm going to assume it's a phone call. Well, we can come back. I was going to say Brian May's going to be talking to us tomorrow. So we keep losing you, Mayor.
Yeah, somebody's trying to call. I'll have to go take that call pretty soon. But so I thought that was a nice thought, thinking ahead for Christmas. It's nice to do it early so you can get it, like an official. They'll give you a letter saying this brick will be placed, that type of stuff. So otherwise, I think we're pretty well caught up. I'm looking forward to Brian May tomorrow.
Yeah.
For people who don't know, Brian is our county legislator for this area. He's a terrific support for the Lysander side. He's a terrific supporter of our community. Great guy, very strong person as far as his leadership and stuff. So I'm sure he'll have some great questions on what's going on with the county and the finances, and are we going to survive this virus? And so people should tune in tomorrow to see Brian. He's very 11:30, right?
Yeah, 11:30 tomorrow.
11:30.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for all the information, and we'll find out about. I'll be curious about the Female Charitable Society. When they're opening, and I know that they've been functioning, but when they're actually be opening and how that opening is going to work. So, enjoy your week. If you have questions for Brian tomorrow, Mayor, make sure you type them into the Facebook Live, and I'll be sure to ask them. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks,
Bye.
Shelley. Bye-bye.